Monday, January 6th, we are back to our regularly scheduled programming. And unfortunately, the San Francisco 49ers won't be part of anybody's playoff schedule programming. What a miserable season coming to an end yesterday in Arizona. We're going to talk about that and a few other things, but it is good to be back. Lewis Arnold right off the rip saying, finally, back to regular scheduled programming. Happy 2025 Plusers. Look at you still using the umlauts over the U's. I don't know if Dennis Schroeder has made those umlauts the permanent part of the upcoming NBA season that I hoped for, but we'll get to the Warriors in just a little bit. It is good to see so many of you again. The only thing that is different here, if you are a discerning viewer who regularly stops on by, you can tell I am not as well lit as I normally am. For whatever reason, this one light over here is out today. So I didn't get a little more handsome. It's just a little darker in here. And so I didn't get a tan. It's just a little darker in here. I look good the harder I am to see. So I'll take it. But thank you so much for being back here. It really is great to have you back. It was a great couple of weeks over the winter break with the boys and Christmas and New Year's, and they're both back in school today. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. It was a long couple of weeks with the boys at home, but it was a great, great, great holiday. I hope you had one too. For the final time, Happy New Year, and away we go. As always, this year, any year. Oh, yeah, shush. Mood lighting, Damon. Yeah, are you in the mood? Probably not a Jake Moody, but I'm glad that you are indeed in the mood. Bottle pull will get you lit. We're laying off the bottle pulls for just a little bit here, Rob, but always great to see you, brother. Jillian and I are going to Mexico later on this month, so I'm trying to, get in underwear model shape before that actually happens. It won't go well, but we'll try. And look, that year sucked. That year of 49ers football just absolutely sucked, and the last game of the season was no different than really any other game of this season. It was frustrating. It was dull at times. It was mind-numbingly confusing. What are these choices being made at times? More special teams misfires, more missed tackles, another embarrassing day against the rush. I mean, everything that did go wrong all year long went wrong in this game too, including a curiously better than you thought it was passing attack that the 49ers actually put out there. And they did it with Josh Dobbs, who managed to throw for 326 yards on Sunday afternoon, 2 touchdowns. He also had 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, and a fumble. So, those who started the Josh Dobbs is better than Brock campaign after he completed his first couple of passes of the game, you are very misinformed. But again, you're pretty much standing up and explaining to everyone how little you understand about how hard it is to be a quarterback. If you say something as stupid as Josh Dobbs is better than Brock Purdy, no, he's not. Not in any conceivable way, not in any way that is attached to statistics, not in any way that is attached to wins or losses, and not in any way that is attached to observable reality for people who understand what they're looking at. Did Josh Dobbs better than Brock Purdy? Go jump off a bridge, please. We don't need you in the conversation anymore. Purdy perfect? No. But we'll talk about how still pretty good he was in an imperfect year in just a second. Some of the silver linings to the cloudiness of yesterday's game. We got a Jacob Cowing touching the ball from the line of scrimmage. That hasn't happened very much this year. It happened a few times to varying results in this game, but it was good to finally see it. Ricky Pearsall became the first 49ers rookie to register games with a touchdown in consecutive games since Debo all the way back in 2019. So, Ricky Pearsall, who's had a very challenging, for lots of reasons, rookie season, did end his season stacking a good game on top of another good game. That's a good sign. The defense gave up nearly 50 points. Kyler Murray didn't even have to wash his uniform after the game and threw for 4 touchdowns. That was concerning. Isaac Guerrero getting hurt in a game That's concerning too, because Isaac Guerrero, I think, matters to next year. Hopefully this isn't a lingering offseason type of dealing with it type of injury, but I heard it's MCL. We'll see the severity of it later today. Fred Warner had a little bit of a hip issue. He got pulled out of that game. Thank God they pulled George Kittle out of that game before he got hurt. Same thing with Nick Bosa. Thank God he got pulled out of that game before he got hurt. You know, it was just to get through it and get the hell out of this season football game. And the Niners, when it was all said and done, I guess they did that. We got a Trent Taylor sighting. Look at Trent Taylor is on the team all year long to maybe help wide receiver depth issues, maybe help in special teams. We didn't even see him until the end of the year. And by the time we saw him, it was too late. He did catch a ball yesterday. And again, because Isaac Guerrero got hurt, Kyle was left, to no other choices than to see more of Patrick Taylor Jr. than I'm sure he wanted to show us. And what Patrick Taylor Jr. showed us was the first 100-yard rushing game of his career. I'm not saying this guy's a Pro Bowler in waiting, but he's a guy who maybe might have been able to help the 49ers who needed some help in their rushing attack all year long. But unfortunately, he wasn't discovered until about half of football remaining in the season. Again, Kyle is really slow to try something else. Patrick Abinaconda, didn't see him. Wanted to see him, didn't. Tanner Mordecai, wanted to see him, didn't. Okay, that's the way you want to play the final game of the year. You go right ahead. As a matter of fact, I thought that there was a sequence of plays at the end of this year that very much embodied the season for the San Francisco 49ers. Very much embodied the year. The Cardinals coming out of the 2-minute warning in a game that they're going to win. It's a 16-point deficit. The Niners are not about to score 2 touchdowns with 2 2-point conversions after they get an onside bet. Like the game's fucking over. Okay, it's over. So you're coming out of the 2-minute warning. It's 4th and 1, and of course the Cardinals decide they're going to run it up the middle, and they do pick up the first down. And then Kyle Shanahan, with the only thing left to do is let this clock hit 0 and everybody can go home, he calls a total bullshit timeout. A total bullshit timeout. A timeout to make it look like you're coaching, make it look like you're still trying to milk every single second of this season for the betterment of the 49ers. Like, it was a bullshit. What are you even bothering calling this timeout for, Kyle? Maybe the 49ers defense is going to recalibrate and they are going to stand up and bow their necks with nothing left to play for in this year, and they'll show us. And after the total bullshit, what are you wasting our time out? What are you wasting our time for timeout? The 49ers instantly give up a 46-yard touchdown run right up the middle to a totally untouched Tony Jones Jr., and that's all you need to know. The 49ers aren't good enough when the game begins, when the game is ending. They're not good enough after the timeout that's supposed to be the recalibrating, let's get it right now timeout. And when it's a matter of playing for pride, you give up an embarrassing touchdown without contact of the runner, and that's all you need to know about this damn year. Right there. Right there. Special teams and defensive headaches, impossible to overcome all year long, and that's why you're 6-11 on the year. That's why in your final 8 games you went 1-7. And that's embarrassing. As bad as the whole year was, as much as everybody just wants to point to Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy and blame them for everything, at least Kyle's side of the ball, hardly perfect, did get the job done in terms of the 49ers' offensive EPA over the course of the entire year. They finished 11th in the NFL, just outside the top 10. Their defensive EPA was the worst of the entire Kyle Shanahan era, 26th in the NFL. And again, if there were a 33rd team in football, the Niners would not have had the worst special teams in football, because there's only 32 teams and they finished 32nd in special teams EPA. Defense, worst of Shanahan's era. Special teams, worst in the NFL this season. A pretty disappointing, yet still all things not that bad offense. And that's where this season went to hell. I know that everyone loves to say Brock and Kyle are responsible for everything, and anything that goes wrong must be their fault. They're two of the only things that really went right all year long for the 49ers now that the final numbers are in. And Brock Purdy's up and down season still produced a top 10 QBR. His quarterback rating was 7th in the NFL this year. Lamar Jackson, number 1. Josh Allen, number 2. Joe Burrow, number 3. Jaden Daniels, number 4. Jordan Love, number 5. Jared Goff, number 6. Brock at 7. Patrick Mahomes at 8. Only Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes are not going to the playoffs in that group. And the reason why neither of those guys are going is the same reason, because their teams around their offenses weren't good enough. Now, as frustrating as the 49ers offense was in the red zone, they moved the ball a lot this year. They just did not get it done in the red zone, and they scored 20 fewer touchdowns with Christian McCaffrey just not even being involved in the team this year. Offensively, it was a headache from wide receivers all year long, healthy or not, headaches everywhere. And still, they produced a reasonable level of success where there was an unreasonable level of disappointment attached to the defense and to the special teams. And that's where this year absolutely went to shit. Again, it's easy to blame the two guys the camera focuses on the most. I guess it takes a little bit more of an experienced member of the media, or just someone who's watched football for more than just the last couple of years to know what's going on here. It escaped an awful lot of people. It's not escaping me. Kyle and Brock will not ever circle this year as a year to talk about how good they were at anything, but they're still better than the rest of these guys who the season fell apart around more than it did Kyle and Brock. This defense stunk all year, and the special teams was the worst in football all year long, just from a special team standpoint. Had they been better on special teams, they might have been a playoff team with everything going wrong around them all year long anyways. That's how ridiculous this year really was. We break for supers, and we got Old Dirty Hungus, who has now been a member for 11 months. Thank you. That is how you support the channel, brother. I've missed you, the Plus fam, the podcast without the interaction, just not the same. It is good to be back. It's good to bring so many familiar names back together in this group. I love it. I really do. I love it. I love it. I love it. You're a smart group of football fans. You're a smart group of sports fans. You're not the most pearl-clutching, overreacting group of douchebags on the internet. So for that alone, I say congratulations. Thank you. It's great to have you all here. It really, really is. What we are able to accomplish, we're able to accomplish through your views. And I'll tell you right now, in the next handful of days, this channel will eclipse 10 million views lifetime. That means an awful lot. It means that we're growing. Thank you. Hit like and subscribe to continue to keep growing. Today's show being powered by BetUS. And again, I know that the 49ers season is over, but the points can be laid and played throughout the NBA, throughout college playoffs, throughout the NFL playoffs. Do it all over on BetUS. Start playing today and use promo code YouTube150 when you do for a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. Our good friends over on BetUS are ready. My man Ike is ready to serve you the most delicious sandwich you're going to find in a long time in your mouth. Make sure it comes from Ike's, and if you're not anywhere around an Ike's, it's time to move. Or hopefully there's one coming to your city soon. Over 100 locations. He is now owned and operating in New Orleans. My man is expanding, and I love seeing that. And Ike's wants to send you a free sandwich when you sign up for the Love Rewards program, and possibly send you to New Orleans for a large football game. Obviously, the 49ers will not be in, but you could be in the Superdome. You could have free airfare. You could have your accommodations paid for by my man Ike when you sign up for that Love Rewards program. We are brought to you by Ike Sandwiches, and I love you, buddy. Thank you so much. And our good friends at the Dubliner are always ready to give you the best Guinness in all of San Francisco. The Dubliner West Portal, go say hi to Kenny and John and let them know The Plus sent you. We'll be doing an off-season Plus Mania there. I'm sure of it. We love the guys at the Dubliner. Thank you so much to them. Thank you to BetUS. Thanks to Ike's. Thanks to all of you. Hit like and subscribe. That's how everything grows around here. My man Barry Ford coming in with his super, saying, Damon, your points are totally spot on. As a fan, I owned a good draft, a special teams purge, and the defense needs to see some major realignment. Bang, bang. What would be the reason to bring Nick Sorensen back? Could you even explain it to me without using the word continuity? I don't think you could. I think Steve Wilkes got fired for less. But we'll see whether or not Nick Sorensen is back or not. A damning stat that I saw against Nick Sorensen is that this team had one recorded sack by a linebacker or a D-back all season long. Just one by a defensive back, just one by a linebacker. Anyone who blitzed wasted his time blitzing this year. And the Niners didn't waste a lot of time blitzing. I saw Dave Lombardi say that San Francisco blitzed multiple rushers a league low 1.7% of the time. So they hardly ever blitzed. And when they did, it was poorly timed and ineffective. Nick Sorensen's base defense was a letdown all year long. A lack of communication seemed to be something that this team could not overcome all year long. Why Nick Sorensen is the right answer, I really don't understand it. I really don't. I think that Steve Wilkes got fired for less than Nick Sorensen is about to be retained for. Why you need Brandon Staley ever again, I do not know. What the two of them were supposed to do collectively together, I didn't see it. Big, strong statement finished to the end of the season. Well, while they were trying to make a big, strong statement to show you with how much gusto they were going to play in a season that was lost. The Niners defense allowed over 38 points per game and 153 rushing yards per game over their last 3 games. Why any of that needs to come back, I really don't know. Larry's talking point, which we were going over on Wake Up, and I agree. There are some people who have gotten way too comfortable in Santa Clara, and how Kyle can say he demands better, but not make people uncomfortable who have so let his team down through poor coaching, either on special teams or defense. Like, I don't know. There's got to be a reason to bring Nick Sorensen back that is one that no one who is, not allowed to watch every day in practice understands. A lot of people who do watch practice every day don't understand it either. If the players really like him, so what? Who gives a shit? The Raiders and their players, they really liked Antonio Pierce, so he was brought back. Where did that get them? Do you think you like someone because they make your life hard for you, or do you like someone because you kind of get away with shit? Not a fan. I'm not a fan of what I've seen out of this defense all year long. Not a fan of what we saw out of special teams, who I've been calling for a termination there since week 3, week 4. And I am not the fire everything and everyone to make your life better type of broadcaster, content creator, whatever the fuck I am these days. I'm not that type of guy. I'm telling you that I would walk away from this defensive coordinator for one who knows what he's doing and just ready to go. Vic Fangio was brought in after knowing what he's doing, and look at what the Eagles were defensively this year and are defensively this year. You can get better than painfully average. So what the case for Nick Sorensen would be, I really don't understand it. And I would say that the hot seat that everyone is looking for underneath Kyle Shanahan, it officially appears next year. This is the offseason where the results of this draft and this free agency will, whatever the answer is, was it good or bad, will also be the answer to, is Kyle still this team's head coach in 2026? He's going to have a last place schedule. If he can't get back to the playoffs through a last place schedule, then it's probably you got to go time. But I would give him one more bite at this apple. I really would. I know that there's a lot of people who just want to flush Shanahan and Purdy. Neither of that is going to happen, so I'm going to operate again in observable reality. We're not going to talk about the things we wish would happen. We're going to talk about the things that are happening. Shanahan and Purdy are both back. John Lynch is going to be back. We'll see about Sorensen. We'll see about Brian Schneider. We'll see if Greasy comes back. Apparently the Miami Dolphins want to talk to him, or somebody wants to, or the Jets. Somebody who wears green, not Michigan State. Want to talk to Brian Greasy about a promotion. There will be turnover this year. And they need to have a good draft this year. And we'll see who is around after that. It's going to be pretty interesting. So look, we will have an awful lot of time in the coming days, shows, weeks, months to get you all set for the NFL draft, free agency, what first round, second round, third round choices need to look like for the 49ers. How deep will this draft be with NIL shaking the whether or not you need to throw yourself into the NFL to start making money? You don't need to do that anymore. College kids are getting paid through the nose so handsomely. Will this be as deep of a draft as, just last year? I don't know. But the Niners got to get it right. The Niners got to get it right. The Giants are retaining their coach and GM after a staggeringly disappointing year. We got Doug Peterson out of Jacksonville, but Trent Baalke remains. Trent Baalke has survived 5 head coach firings. Now, I don't know if there's any GM in the NFL who's got a more impressive resume factoid than that. How many Super Bowls did you win? How many guys have you selected in the draft who've become Pro Bowlers? How many times did you survive a head coach firing? Trent Baalke now is a 5-timer. 5-timers club, like Tom Hanks hosting Saturday Night Live. A 5-timer. That's unbelievable. We'll see what the rest of Black Friday looks like. I saw that Jared Mayo got let go, one and done in New England. I guess the Patriots way doesn't include patience any longer. Heck, maybe bring Jared Mayo in as a defensive coordinator. It's going to be an interesting offseason, to say the least. And we'll be on top of all of it. Thank you very much for liking, for subscribing. Hit notify. You won't miss a thing. A video that comes out, a live stream that we're doing together. You won't miss a thing. Everybody getting back to work. Hopefully you had a nice little winter break, holiday break. Everybody getting back to work, including Jillian, who's actually got to move into the studio and record a little something for what she's working on today, which means today, I know it's all great to be back here and hang out together again, and it really is. It's awesome to be back, but this is going to be a little bit of a short show today. We'll get to a today in history, but first we have to talk about the other thing that is happening in sports journalism today. So Skip Bayless and Joy Taylor and an awful lot of people at Fox Sports are seeing their bad behavior exposed in a lawsuit that was brought to bear against Skip Bayless. This lawsuit has done more to affect Joy Taylor's reputation than it probably has Skip Bayless's reputation, because Skip Bayless right now is a man without a port. He is not on Fox anymore. He's looking for his next opportunity, and maybe this lawsuit goes a long way to understanding why he walked away from his deal at Fox. Apparently, Skip Bayless offered a woman $1.5 million to sleep with her, who was a hairdresser at Fox Sports. Ew, that's gross. Secondly, don't you ever complain about a player's efficiency again when you're the type of lame that's going to pay some rando hairdresser $1.5 million to sleep with her. If you got to pay $1.5 million for sex, number one, pathetic. Number two, you're married, so extra pathetic. Number three, find some value in your life. If you really got to pay for it, go to places where you can have sex, I don't know, several times for $1.5 million. Don't talk to me about offensive efficiency ever again when you're ready to pay $1.5 million on a slice of pie. I mean, come on. That right there is ridiculous and gross all the way through. But I will say this about Skip Bayless. I've never liked him as a journalist. His style of journalism is one of the reasons why sports journalism is in the dumper these days. Just debating everything and screaming hot talking points is not interesting, never was to me. So I have always been in the fuck Skip Bayless, he's made the world a worse place camp. I've always also been in the that guy has to pay for sex written all over him. So none of this surprises me about Skip Bayless. I always thought he sucked at his job, was a waste of space and oxygen, and he had can't get laid in a whorehouse written all over him. Just a smarmy, pathetic kind of loser who has to talk tough about LeBron from the safety of a set to matter. Never liked the guy. Turns out he is prepared to cheat on his wife for a price point that means he's also a fucking douchebag. That's who he's been. I'm not surprised that this is who he is at all. Joy Taylor. Joy Taylor is someone who has wanted you to know that her entire career, she's been battling being a woman in this industry that is rough on women, especially black women, which, you know, depending on how her hair is done that day, how black she really is, sort of varies show to show. Joy Taylor, turns out, didn't really work as hard to get to where she is as much as she worked the cock to get to where she is. And all of this has come out in this lawsuit. Joy Taylor, allegedly in this lawsuit, was not only having sex with co-hosts, she was having sex with a network executive who got her the big job to begin with. Fox network executives have a reputation for banging female hosts that you've seen. This happened to Christine Leahy, who used to work with Colin Cowherd. She had to go because she was fucking the boss. Now you got Joy Taylor, who is fucking the boss, and her co-host, all the while saying, you know, I'm here because I'm great and I earned it. Yeah, you earned it because you took it. Good God, man. That is just gross. It's gross. And she plays how virtuous she really is. You look at Joy Taylor's Instagram. Go to Joy Taylor's Instagram today and look at all those first thirst trap photos. And we should have known. We should have known. Joy Taylor has always given off, if Skip Bayless has always given off the I pay for sex vibes, Joy Taylor has always given off the paid escort vibe. She has always given off that for the right opportunity. I'm an opportunist and I will do whatever it takes to get that opportunity. And I'll tell you what, when I got laid off, I went down to the Jason Barrett Sports Summit in LA and they had a panel come on up and it was Mina Kimes and it was Joy Taylor, and Joy Taylor was up there and she was even asked about her spicy Instagram, thirst trap photos. And she said, I'm paraphrasing here. She basically said, yeah, I know what I'm doing with each and every one of those, and I will use my body to my advantage to get to where I need to go. And I always thought, you know what, honey, go for it. Yeah, I would be that way too. If I were a hot chick with great tits, you would see my great tits in every single video. I would be leaning forward, dropping keys at all times. Lots of titties would be included in this broadcast if I had lots of titties to show you because people like them. So I don't begrudge her. I don't begrudge her at all. But when she says that she will use her body to her advantage, She allegedly was having sex with a boss while he was married. And the plan was that if that ever went public, she was going to accuse the other guy of rape. This is in the lawsuit, which you can go read today. Like, Joy Taylor has a level of using sex for her advantage and discarding the destructive ramifications of what might happen to all involved around her that even, like, this is like Puff Daddy vibes. Was she running a sex ring that needed 1,000 bottles of lube? No, she wasn't. But she was willing to do anything, apparently, to get to where she needed to go. Doesn't matter whose marriage got wrecked. His, hers, theirs, doesn't matter. That's something else. That's something else. So, wow. Little missed. I'm an opinionist. Apparently her opinion was, you come back to my place and I'll show you how good I might be on this TV show. Look, say whatever you want about me. I can tell you definitively, I've never fucked a boss, ever. As a matter of fact, I was the opposite of that. Not only was I like the opposite of Trent Baalke, Joy Taylor, sucking up to bosses to keep jobs, I was the guy who would tell my boss, you're really not that good at what you do after all. I'm the opposite of fucking the boss. So I've got no respect for that at all. At all. Is it tough for women in this business? You bet it is. But I've seen a lot of women in this business who don't do that. And by the way, the whole, this is what guys do. Joy Taylor, let's be honest with, she's a dude. She's a dude. She's just as power hungry and ready to fuck over whoever needs to get fucked, figuratively or literally, chick in the business, which means she's a dude, right? I mean, come on. That's something else. So how is she supposed to appear on TV ever again? Here's what's going to happen to Joy Taylor. She will be phased out carefully, strategically, I believe, of Fox programming, and she will have an OnlyFans page in the next 6 to 8 months. That's what's left for Joy, I believe. Who's going to be downloading the "Let's find out how Joy Taylor broke into such a tough industry" podcast any longer? We know how you broke into it, through zippers. Again, Skip Bayless always gave off the had to pay for sex energy, and Joy Taylor always gave off the I might be available if the money is right energy. And it turns out my instincts on both are correct. Today in history. Are you ready for a little today in history? Happy birthday, Mr. Bean. Rowan Atkinson turns 70 years old today. Mr. Bean is, it's kind of a phenomenon. Like, he didn't do that many of that shows, but became such an iconic character that he got movie deals and TV shows out of it. And then apparently, he didn't like being Mr. Bean anymore, and he didn't want to do it, and that kind of went away. I can't even imagine how many millions of dollars he left on the table because he didn't want to be Mr. Bean anymore. Let's see what else happened today in history. How about this? All the way back in 1912, New Mexico became the 47th state in the Union. Happy birthday, New Mexico. Today, we'll go way back. Today in 1759, a guy named George married a gal named Martha. Last name Washington. George Washington met future First Lady Martha Dandridge in Virginia today. I mean, come on. She knitted the American flag. Thanks, Martha. Way to go. I don't know what any First Lady has really done since then, but good job. Today in 1994, we were all asked the question, Why? Why? Today in 1994, Olympic ice skater Nancy Kerrigan got attacked by Tanya Harding's husband's boyfriend, Shane Stantz, bodyguard douchebags. The I, Tanya movie is fantastic, by the way. Kerrigan would finish in second place, Harding in eighth place for that event, but it was one of the more polarizing things that has ever happened in American sport. Oh my God, they attacked the ice princess. Why? Today is the made-up birthday of someone who doesn't even really exist. Happy imaginary birthday to Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes, who never actually had his birthday identified in literature. Apparently, it is canon, though, to all you Arthur Conan Doyle enthusiasts out there, that January 6th has been accepted as Sherlock Holmes's birthday. Sherlock Holmes is one of the most adapted fictional characters in the history of literature. So, happy imaginary birthday to an imaginary person. January 6th, I heard something involving Donald Trump happened on that day, and how that day wasn't a huge disqualifier for anything that ever came afterwards. I do not know, but I don't want to talk any politics today. Let's just hold our breath and hope everything works out. Thank you very, very, very much for watching. Please hit like and subscribe. Why? Why? Because it's a great way to support the channel. Thank you very, very much for hitting like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. It's great to be back with you. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being patient and letting me have a wonderful little break with my kids. I tell you, I went to a handful of science museums and fun days with the boys. We built Lego projects. We worked on an entire month of December's worth of homework. Jack is really getting good at writing numbers 1 through 20, printing his alphabet, capitals, lowercase. We're working on a lot of things. It was a great little Christmas break. So thank you for allowing me to step away from this show and be a good dad. Hopefully I was. We'll find out. Thank you very much for being a part of this, for being a part of this program. Means an awful lot. We get all our supers right here. Brett, final one of the day, between mortgages, car payments, vacation, gifts, and the likely we all pay for it one way or another. Yeah, you know, we all do make some sacrifices and maybe some moral compromises along the way. Cheating on a spouse, wrecking another home, and fucking your way to the top really aren't options that most people are taking. Really not. You know, we all pay for it. You know, there's a proper way to do that, and then there's an improper way to do that. And allegedly, you can read that lawsuit to find out the improper way to do that. Although I will say, you know, she got a network TV show and I never did. Let me also bring this up too, and I think this is a very important point, as an awful lot of dirty laundry through an awful lot of dirty laundry years have been laid out over at Fox. Neither Colin Cowherd or Nick Wright's name is around any of this nefarious behavior, and they were around all of this. So cheers to them. Like them or don't like them, a couple gentlemen, a couple of guys who honor the marriage that they're in. I don't know. Did they ever get offered the Joy Taylor Punani? Who knows? What Emmanuel Acho's out there doing videos about what a strong black woman she is. What a strong black woman she is. What a strong black woman she is. Dude, like, you're saying black women so many times here. You must be trying to frame her in a different light. Like, dude, you were banging her. You were banging her. By the way, Twitter is merciless. You should see some of the responses here. There was a picture of Joy Taylor sitting on a couch with Emmanuel Acho. He's got his socks off, and like all of Twitter was like, "Dude, they're fucking. You don't take your socks off around a coworker unless you're banging." Apparently, that was correct. So leave your socks on, everybody. Thank you very, very much for hanging around. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you to Ike's, to BetUS, and the Dubliner. And please do remember, my good friends, that sports don't build character. They reveal it. Oh, by the way, the Warriors lose by 30 to the Kings. Ugh. Sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, he's gone.